On Wednesday of this week, the Internet Archive and the Internet Archive's Wayback Machine was hacked. Well, it wasn't exactly on Wednesday of this week. It was actually back in September that this happened. This hacker group managed to gain access inside of the Internet Archive and just kind of tooled around in there for a while, noodled about and whatnot. The hacker group then eventually reached out to the website Have I Been Pwned, HIBP, and provided them with a block of 31 million users, so email addresses and whatnot, when they last changed their password and just other details like that. And Have I Been Pwned and at least one other source verified that this was legitimate and reached out to the Internet Archive. Now, here's where it gets weird. The Internet Archive never responded. This is really true. So in September, they get hacked with 31 million user accounts leaked publicly. They gets verified by security researchers. The Internet Archive is notified of the breach multiple times by more than one security person, and they never, ever responded to anyone and left whatever access was in place. They never plugged the hole, fixed the breach. They never did it. And then on October 9th, Wednesday, October 9th, just 2 days ago, the hacker group was like, okay, I guess we're going to tip our hand publicly now. And they took down the website. And when anyone went to the Internet Archive Wayback Machine at archive.org, they got this message. Have you ever felt like the Internet Archive runs on sticks and is constantly on the verge of suffering a catastrophic security breach? It just happened. See 31 million of you on Have I Been Pwned. I'm in that list. So are most journalists are in that list. Everyone uses the Internet Archive Wayback Machine, right? Now, the crazy thing to me here is that the Internet Archive never apparently took any action on this. Now, I don't know what they did internally, but they didn't fix the leak or didn't fix the hole. They didn't secure their systems at all after having been notified of the specific details. And they just were like, whatever. They waited until it was catastrophic, right? They waited until the website got taken offline and they got outed before they took any action. And it still took them about half a day just to get their servers back up and working again. It's all working again now. I don't know if they've plugged the security leak. I don't know if this hacker group still has access. We honestly don't know. We really, really don't know because, again, the Internet Archive just didn't respond to anybody. Now, the hacker group in question was named Black Meta. And they released their reasons for doing this particular hack. It was a political stunt. They said, quote, they, the Internet Archive, are under attack because the archive belongs to the USA. And as we all know, this horrendous and hypocritical government supports the genocide that is being carried out by the terrorist state of Israel. And as ex-community notes point out, the Internet Archive is a non-profit organization. It's just not owned by the U.S. government. So anyway, but the motives of this are almost irrelevant, right? Because a huge number of tech news outlets are reporting on this hack because everyone sees the Internet Archive. It's like Google being hacked, right? As far as at least tech journalists are concerned, this is a very commonly used resource, and so it's top of the mind. And when it gets hacked, it's kind of a big deal. It's surprising to everyone. But here's the thing about it being surprising. It's not surprising that it happened. It's not surprising that the Internet Archive got hacked. That was inevitable. All complex systems, once they reach a certain level of popularity, they're gonna get hacked. What was surprising was when it happened. It's sort of like a volcano, an active volcano that erupts every so often. Everyone knows this volcano on Hawaii or whatever is going to erupt every so often. What we don't know is when it's going to erupt. We don't know the specific day. Is this volcano going to erupt in the next 20 years? Yes. Is it going to erupt on Thursday? I don't know, maybe. And when it erupts on Thursday, that's a surprise. And it freaks everyone out, and everyone runs around screaming, "Oh my gosh, a big hack. Can you believe it? Run for the hills." Okay, this is like that. This is it's not great. This is not wonderful. There's nothing about this story that is just truly delightful. A whole bunch of user accounts and all that got leaked. That's not great. Who knows what else happened, because the people that hacked into it had access for close to 2 weeks. What did they do when they were in there? I don't know. The Internet Archive didn't respond to anything. Any detail that was sent to them about the hack. They never responded. They never got back to Have I Been Pwned or anyone else with more questions or anything to try and track this down. So how often does this sort of thing happen, where security researchers reach out to the Internet Archive and are like, "Hey, you got a security problem. Someone's hacked in," and they just do nothing? We have no idea. But it does seem like this is not that great, right? So there's a lot of not great here, but it's also not surprising, because again, and I this cannot be stressed enough, all sufficiently popular complex systems will get hacked. Period. End of story. Full stop. Carriage return. Line feed. There we go. That's what's going to happen. Once an online system, an internet connected or otherwise connected system is worth hacking, it's eventually going to get hacked. Because systems nowadays have become extraordinarily complex, with interconnected parts, oftentimes interconnected parts that weren't even designed to work together, with an ever-increasing number of attack surfaces. So like when you think about the Internet Archive, how many huge numbers across all of the Internet Archive servers, and there's a lot of them, right, that do a lot of different things. How many of frameworks are in use? PHP and JavaScript and Ruby on Rails and who knows what, on top of whatever systems they've got running there, Linux systems and FreeBSD systems and the whole works. Do they have any printers on there? Shoot, we just saw that big giant Linux printing bug that allowed people to get remote execution access via network connected printers by sending a simple UDP packet to the computer that had the printer attached. Do they have any printers there at the Internet Archive? Well, being as they're a library, an online library that does like constant scanning of pages and everything, I bet you they got lots of printers and scanners in there. Did they have any that were running cups? If so, it was probably pretty trivial to find a way to get into a Wi-Fi network or something to cause some of those systems to have scripts executed on their systems. Once you do that, Bob's your uncle. You're going to have some fun on that system. And so there's just so many attack surfaces on these systems. And as a system becomes more complex, bit by bit, adding new pieces, bolting on new things that are accessible on a new port, or writing to files in a new way, or running with a new user account, or running on a new system or something. Every single interconnected piece you add greatly increases the vulnerability of all the pieces. This is just how complex systems work, which means that as they grow, they're going to be easier and easier to hack, no matter how hard the security people behind that particular system and the developers of every individual interconnected part are working and how good they are at their job. It is just not going to be possible at all to fully secure those systems. It's not possible. And so now in the case with the Internet Archive, we've seen that they were kind of negligent, right? At least it would appear to be. But you don't have to be negligent in order to have the hacking. In fact, During the same time when the Internet Archive hack was going on, we had this report out of TechCrunch. Fidelity says data breach exposed personal data of 77,000 customers. This information was compromised during an August data breach, including social security numbers and driver's licenses. Okay, that just happened. From the Wall Street Journal, United States wiretap systems targeted in China-linked hack. AT&T and Verizon among the broadband providers that were breached. It goes on to provide all sorts of details on that particular hack. Oh, and then there's this news report that came out. Mozilla fixes Firefox 0-day actively exploited in attacks. Mozilla has issued an emergency security update for the Firefox browser to address a critical use after free vulnerability that is currently exploited in attacks. And this type of flaw occurs when memory that has been freed is still in use by the program, allowing malicious actors to add their own malicious data to the memory region to perform code execution. Now, why I mentioned this is that was a sampling of the security issues that have been reported on over the last couple of days. Now, we've all seen huge attacks where there's hundreds of millions of user records published from government agencies and contractors and big data firms and whatnot. I mean, there's whole websites that are devoted strictly to tracking when these companies, when these sites get hacked and how bad they were. And they're increasing. They're ever increasing. And as the complexity of the systems continues to grow, and it is, the easiness of those hacks increases. The likelihood that you can fully secure the systems decreases. It's just the way it is. Just as a way of using a fun example to show how bad the situation has gotten. Over the years, I have run a BBS. Right? A DOS-based BBS, right? Yeah, those old dial-up modem BBSs with just text and ANSI on the screen, right? I've done this for years. And for a long time, I would have my BBS running connected via Telnet. So people could, in an unencrypted Telnet client, connect to my BBS and use it. Now, again, it was just a DOS-based BBS, so the system was fairly simple, right? It didn't have a whole lot going on. It just did one thing and did it well. And what I would do is I would go to conferences and talk about security. And I would be in front of rooms of hundreds and hundreds of nerds who did this for a living. Sometimes they were actual security researchers, and I challenged them. Hack into my system. I dare you. Do it now. Do it later. Do it whenever you want. Hack into it. And I left my systems up and running, those DOS-based Telnet BBSs, for years and years. And I had logs of people trying everything they could think of to get into these systems. If you go online and you scour around the dark and dirty corners of the internet, you'll find a lot of scripts that will probe systems for vulnerabilities, right? If you get a Telnet or SSH or whatnot connection, it will begin to send commands of known vulnerabilities to try and get into a system. And just try all sorts of different things to make their way in and gain some sort of access. Well, I have logs. And they went on for thousands of pages, thousands and thousands of pages. I showed these at a conference once, and I just pulled this up. I'm like, look, these are the people hacking into my systems right now, or trying to. And we actually could watch, because it was a 20-line Telnet node BBS, which meant that 20 people could connect at any one time via Telnet. Okay. At any given moment, there was at least 4 or 5 of those lines that were nothing but people trying, using scripts and automated systems to try and find a way into this decades old BBS, crusty old BBS system that has no user accounts, no encryption, nothing. And they couldn't do it. We could literally watch them as they popped up on the screen, and we were just sitting there with hundreds of Linux developers and hackers and security researchers, and I'm like, look at all the different things they're trying, and people were laughing because they recognized some of the various exploits. They were like, oh, that was a recent one. Oh, that was the one that was against a MySQL thing, and they were watching these commands just spin past the screen of these scripts they were trying to use. No one ever got in. Now, was that DOS-based Telnet BBS system with no encryption, accessible via Open Telnet, with no user accounts, no nothing on it, like in the system, right? Was that a system I spent a lot of time, buttoning up and making super secure? No, I did not. But it's a fairly simple system. So is it possible to hack into it? Probably. Yeah. I mean, you know what? In fact, yes, I would say it is possible to hack into, but it was such a simple system that the total number of options available to hack into it were so limited, no one could figure it out. Right? And you could say that that's a form of security through obscurity, and that would be kind of true because you have a far lower attack surface, so less people can less options are available for the hack. Now that we have extraordinarily complex systems, and the Internet Archive is certainly a fantastically complex system with huge, crazy numbers of functionality, with psychotic numbers of servers, all running a wide variety of different packages and kernel versions and everything. Oh yeah, this hack happened. I'd be willing to bet money, dollars to donuts. It's not the first, nor will it be the last, and it's probably not the only hack going on at the Internet Archive at the same time. Yeah. Most hacks don't tip their hand. Most people that gain access to these sorts of systems don't go out and publish it and go, ha ha ha, la-di-da-di-da, I'm going to deface your website because I'm funny, right? Those are the non-serious ones. The serious ones don't tip their hand. They steal the data, they sell it on the black market, they do some sort of corporate espionage or whatever it is that they're making money to get there and do, and they get out quietly. Considering that even when it's a big splashy deal, the Internet Archive does not respond to it until they're forced to, and they don't even try and fix it, apparently, that would suggest to me that they have no idea what's happening in their systems, and neither do most other big corporate servers either. Yeah, it's worth bearing in mind. Now, I'm not saying don't use the internet, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't have big complex servers, but we just should realize it cannot be secured. It's not possible. The more complex it gets, the more attack vectors. And that doesn't mean we should stop trying. That doesn't mean we should just give up and open up everything. But it's not possible. It's always something that we're going to be chasing, constantly fighting back against every random exposure, every random vulnerability and remote execution issue that pops up. And it's going to be constant. And not only is it going to be constant, it's going to be ever increasing. And when we see organizations and companies and whatnot just seemingly not care and continue to run ever expanding systems where they just don't care about their security, that's extra concerning, because even if they care, they're going to get hacked. And when they don't care, oh lordy, it's open season, son. Anyway, I wanted to make sure I've talked about this topic before. It needed to get talked about again. Thank you again, subscribers, lunduke.com, lunduke.locals.com. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerds across the entire unsecured internet, I do declare, end broadcast.